I'm Sal Emma.
I'm Beth Emma.
We are the Brewery Lovers. Very happy to be at the Seed, a living beer project in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Hang on a sec. Since we shot this video, the Seed was named Best New Brewery in the country by USA Today.
Wow. Congratulations, Amanda and Sean.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Now, you use a lot of different kinds of yeast here, right?
We do. So we focus on fermentation-driven beers typically. So our portfolio will typically revolve around hoppy beers, pale ales, and IPAs, saisons, farmhouse beers in general, and lager. So they all dictate different yeast strains. We actually even use a couple different yeast strains for our IPAs based on what we're looking for. Our saisons and farmhouse beers that we focus pretty heavily on incorporate a tremendous amount of wild yeast, wild bacteria, local isolates, lab isolates, and different strains that we have cultured and banked throughout the years. So yeah, we focus pretty heavily on fermentation, and yeast certainly is the component of that. But saison means season at its core, so it's really brewing seasonally, brewing with what's available. For us, we do like to try to drive home a sense of place in our farmhouse beer, in our saison. So if local farms are having a beautiful crop of blackberries, of raspberries, of peaches, of apples, we try to find a way to incorporate that into mature beer that's mature and ready to be fruited at that time. The names are all names of the barrels. It's easier for us to keep track of the names of the barrels rather than barrel 1, barrel 2, barrel 3. It's also more personal. So every name of the barrel has its own backstory, but doesn't necessarily speak to the beer that's inside. Sure. Billy, actually that's a good story. So Billy is our neighbor. He runs the hatchet throwing place next door, and he was a tremendous help in everything we did here. He helped us build our glycol line. He lent us a scissor lift for months and months and months and months. So actually that first brew day, so those 3 barrels are filled with wheat fields and swallows, which will be our house saison. Very simple, balanced, light, mixed culture saison. There was the 3rd barrel that wasn't named yet at the time, and we just decided to name it Billy because he was here helping us that day. Our vision for the place, I think that's a broad question.
It is.
But I think the vision is to create a sense of community through beer, to distill it down to one sentence. I think we try to drive home as strong of a story of local agriculture, of the local climate, the local environment, the people, the growing seasons, everything in between, in a glass of beer that we pass across the bar to you, or in a can or a bottle that you bring home. So I think the idea is always just to drive a sense of place out of the brewery. We took a year or more, really, deciding on what the name for the brand was going to be. And the Seed is kind of that forever hope. It's like the coolest symbol of hope and growth and endless possibilities. So that's like, it's part of also the reasoning for naming the project the Living Beer Project and not the Seed Brewery or the Seed Brewing Company. It's really a living, breathing entity. It's something that'll be forever changing. We're always embracing the variability in nature and kind of the growth and progression of our cultures and our brewing ideals and our knowledge base and everything like that. So I think we finally got to a point where the seed was that symbol that fully encompassed all of those ethos. But I really think the thing that prepared us best for running a brewery is the network and connection of friends and peers we've made in the industry. We have like a scroll of people we can reach out to that are way bigger experts in every last facet of this than we are, that whenever we have an issue, a question about any little thing to any major thing, we have a small handful of people that we know will have exactly the right answer that we can reach out to, which is, I think, the best thing that we've got in our quiver moving forward.
Absolutely.
Amanda was the brewer for Tuckahoe for a while, so they taught us everything from our kind of fledgling stages of understanding what a commercial production brewery looked like up through their expansion to their new spot.
That was huge.
We've had Billy at Ludlam to lean on forever for questions regarding anything and everything. We have some really good friends at Kane that we've leaned on really heavily for questions, from folks at New York, Transmitter. I mean, there's endless people that we've spent just hours and hours and hours sitting at picnic tables, sharing beers, and like banging our heads against the wall to look for help on certain facets that they've been able to chime in and help with. So it's been huge. We do a lot of projects collaboratively. We love brewing collaborations with other folks. It gives us a chance to learn something. Hopefully it gives the folks that are working with us a chance to learn something from us, and we get to make a cool piece of artwork at the end of the day. I mean, Amanda and I are both super creative. I personally, Amanda's actually really good at drawing. I personally don't have a lot of those, what I would consider like hard art skills. I can't sing, I can't draw, I can't paint or anything like that. But like beer gives us a way to express things, emotions, stories through like a tangible product that we can share with people. So I think, yeah, we do certainly view it as an art form.
Do you have an animal mascot?
An animal mascot.
Ooh.
Is there a brewery cat or dog?
Well,
our
yeah,
dog.
Our dog comes here all the time. So this first beer here on your left is our English Dark Mild, Stay a While. So we don't focus too heavily on malt forward beers, but we do really enjoy balanced, drinkable beers. So this English Dark Mild is kind of a traditional British pub beer that crosses over both worlds. So it's 4.2% alcohol, really smooth, crisp, easy drinking, but carries a lot of the dark malt profile that you would get in some bigger malt forward beers. So you're gonna get a lot of roast, a lot of coffee, toffee, just balanced malt forward beer.
Good. This next beer is a collaboration with Marlowe Artisan Ales out of Connecticut. It's a pale ale. It's very nostalgic. I feel like that's the best way to describe it. It's got a little more pine and resin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Know Who You Are.
It's delicious.
The third beer is what will wind up being kind of the core of our IPA program. Our hops program in general, it's called A Place to Rest. It's just a modern IPA, 6.8% alcohol. It is dry hopped with Sabro, Citra, and Mosaic relatively heavily. There's a ton of just tropical fruit cocktail in there. We're getting a lot of pineapple, coconut, stone fruit, papaya right now. Yeah, so that's going to kind of be the flagship, for lack of a better term, of our hops program.
The next beer is called a Garden to Walk In. It's a clean saison. I always kind of tease Sean because clean saison, I always find kind of falls flat and is a little boring to me. So we started experimenting with adding different types of ingredients to kind of give a more complex flavor. So this saison in particular has raspberry canes, goldenrod, and lemon added to kind of mimic some of the things that like fermentation in a barrel would create, or bacteria, or wild yeast, or yeah.
Then the last beer is Wheatfields and Swallows, which will be our house saison. So Wheatfields and Swallows is a really simple beer. It's brewed 100% with New Jersey grown and malted barley, wheat, and spelt. It's then fermented with one of our house mixed cultures of yeast and bacteria for a short period of time, 4 to 5 weeks, in spent wine barrels, or second use wine barrels, I should say, before being either can or keg conditioned to relatively high volume. So it's effervescent, it's spritzy, it crosses a lot of worlds between champagne and beer, light, crisp, but complex. It's really got a lot going on in a very small 4% package.
Which one is your favorite?
Well, I'm an IPA girl, so this is going to be my go-to.
Okay, let me try it again before I make up my mind.
Okay.
This is the IPA?
Yes, it is.
This is the pale ale?
Yes.
What's the IPA called? Do you remember?
No.
Tough choice, because we're both really good.
While you're deciding, I'm going to try this one again.
I'm going to go with pale ale. That's my favorite of this group of 5.
All right.
The pale ale, Bill. Bill's like, don't say my name.
All right.
Good?